Okay, so let's look at the first format of looping available in Python. So we saw that there are two ways we can do the looping in programming language. One is count-based looping. When you know how many times you want to repeat a part of the code, you can keep track of the count and keep repeating that part of the code using something called as a for loop. The syntax of that we'll look into a little later. The second format of looping which was possible was condition-based looping, where we repeat a block of a code depending on certain condition, being true or false. We keep repeating certain part of the condition, certain part of the program. So the first thing we're looking at is a while loop, which is the loop that we will be using if we want to repeat a part of the program based on a certain condition. So let's take the same example that we had considered last video. The question was print the statement hello until the user enters the string or the value n, right? So this was the if condition based implementation, and we saw the drawback of this, that we have to repeat the same part of the code a lot of times and we don't even know how many times you want to repeat it. So this is not the solution that is going to work for this question, right? So what we need, let's look at what do we need to repeat first before we go ahead and do the looping part. This is what we want to repeat. We want to repeat the print hello part. Now when do we want to repeat it? We take a user input, okay, and when the choice is not equal to n, we want to repeat it. This is a requirement, right? Now obviously we saw the only putting if here does not work, because this program has to print this and again go and take the input, right? So these three statements will have to keep on repeating over and over again, right? So how do we make sure that happens? So that means before I enter the print hello part, I have to do some condition check here, and only if this condition is true, I have to print this, and after I have printed it, I have to again take a user input, because this choice has to be updated, right? I have to again take a user input and again do the condition verification, right? So this much of code, that is this line, condition check, the print statement, and take user input. This will keep on repeating as long as the value entered by user is not equal to n, right? So let me put the user input again here. Let me put this user input again here. So now that should make it a little more clear. So we do some verification here. How does this happen? We'll come to that. If this statement is true, we come to this line, print it, again take the user input, go back to this line, and again check whatever was entered here, was it equal to n or not. All right. So at this line is where our looping starts. This is the part of the loop. This statement is part of the loop. This statement is part of the loop, and this is the beginning of our loop where we do the condition. We decide, do we enter and execute this code or do we not execute this code? That has to be decided at this part, this line, right? So that is where we'll put the if condition. So how do we put the if condition? While condition, sorry. So we say while, ask a question. While the choice is not equal to n, put a colon operator, and then because it's a separate block of code, it has to come with a indentation. So give an indentation here to indicate that okay, if this choice is not equal to n, then we will come into the loop, execute this, again take the user input. Now if we end the indentation here, that means the looping is over at this part, it will automatically go back to this line. Whatever choice we entered has got updated. It will verify if the choice is not equal to n, and then again print the hello, and again take the user input. So this will keep on repeating because this is at this indent level. So everything that comes at this indent or after this indent is part of the loop, right? Everything that comes at this level is not part of the loop, right? So we have two lines at this indentation. So one is it will print it, then take the user input. If there's nothing else after this line of the code, it will automatically go back to beginning of the loop, verify this condition. If this condition is true, that means if this condition check gives a boolean true, then it will enter the while loop. If this condition turns out to be false, it will skip from here directly to whatever piece of code comes at this indent level. That is, whatever piece of code comes behind this indentation, it will automatically go back to that line of code. All right. So let's see if we can put this into code and try to understand how that works. Okay. So what we have done here is we have initialized choice to y. Instead of taking user input, we have done a hard initialization. So we do a check here while what? While choice is not equal to n. So y is not equal to n. Come into the loop, print the hello, ask the user to give his choice. Now because there is nothing else at this level of indentation, the code will automatically go back to the beginning of the loop. That is, go back to here and continue executing again uh, the, with the choice with the print hello part, and again ask the user input. This will keep on running continuously. Right? So let me just run this code. You can step also. Can Let's say we'll try to do a step part. So now we are at this level. Okay, we can check the variable explorer here. We execute one line. So you can see the choice value has become y. Right. So now we're at this line. We are asking the question: is the choice not equal to n? Yes, it is true because choice value currently is y. You can see on the right the variable window. You can see here this choice value is y. So now we are comparing y and n. So y is not equal to n. So that this condition question becomes true. So if that, because that becomes true, it will come into the while part. So let's see if that happens. So you can see it has come to this line of the code where it is entering the while part. Now once we are inside this, it will print the hello. Okay, so okay, we came into just okay, so you can see the hello has got printed. Right, you can see the hello has got printed here. Now it will again ask for the user input. So it is, you can see it is waiting for us to enter a choice. Right, so let me enter something. Let me enter y again. So it again comes back to this line, asking for the user to enter, asking, doing a comparison here. So you can see the choice has got updated to small y. It was again it was small y before also, so it is y now. Uh, we'll again step into it. It'll again come here. It'll print the hello, and it'll again ask the user a choice. Let me enter n and do a step. Sorry, I've not entered. So it comes here. Now variable explorer, you can see the value of choice is small n, and we are also comparing with small n here. So n is equal to n. So if I do a step now, you can see the program is finished. It has come to end of the, we have not printed anything because there's nothing else after this code, so it will come to the end of the program, right? So the program is done. So you can see everything that is part of this indentation is part of the while loop. The syntax is pretty simple. You have a while keyword, you have a condition check, and you have a colon operator, and then comes the tab space to indicate a tab or indentation to indicate what is part of the while loop, right? Let me take another small code to make it a little more clear. Let's see. Now here the question is print a loop or a statement loop number as many times as the user enters the number. That means I take a user input num and I have to repeat this statement loop number with the number of the loop as many times as the user enters this condition, right? So let's see how this goes. Now I will start the debug again. So let me step. Now I ask the user, it is asking me to enter a number. So let's say I enter 2. So it comes here. You can go to Variable Explorer. You can see num is 2. So the num value is 2. Now I will, because now question being asked is num greater than 0? 2 is greater than 0. Yes. So it will come into this. It will print the loop number 2, loop number and the variable value which is 2. I decrement the value of num, so num becomes 1. You can see the value of num has become 1. 1 is still greater than 0, so this statement is still true. So I'll again step, it will execute, it will come into the while, it will print loop number 1, decrement the value again, you can see num becomes 0. Now 0 is not greater than 0, so it will simply not enter the loop. Okay, you can see the program is going to end. Program has ended. So it figured out that this is not true, this is false. So the program stopped here and it came out of the loop. Right? So that's how the basic while loop works. The keyword, the condition, the colon operator, and then the indentation. Right? Hope the basic looping while loop is clear. Uh, we'll do a few more programs on this to get the concepts a little more better. Thank you.